Hello, and welcome to this video in which I'm going to lead you through the induction process here at Coleg Ceredigion. If you're watching this video, it means you missed all or some of induction for some reason. Now watching the video won't be as good as having been there, but it will be better than nothing. Now in this first video, I'll be covering tasks 1 to 9 of the general induction booklet. That's about half of the first booklet. Later videos will cover tasks 10 to 14 of the general induction booklet and the separate course induction booklet. Okay, so let's make a start. Here are the reasons for induction. You'll cover some important health and safety information. You'll learn about what to expect of the college, what the college expects of you, what to expect on your course of study. You'll get to know your lecturers and you'll get to know other students. And this first video covers part of the first half, roughly, of the general induction booklet. Later videos, as I say, will cover the later tasks in that, and later videos still will cover the second booklet, which is the course induction booklet. So, the general induction booklet, which this video covers the first part of, will include anti-discrimination, some services provided by the college, some health and safety procedures, and your responsibilities. You can complete the booklet in English or Welsh. Please fill in the front cover now. Okay, so hopefully you've filled in the front cover now. A good idea as we work through the booklet is to begin with, write your answers out in rough before entering them into the booklet. So you'll need to go and find some paper and a pen or pencil and pause the video there and come back when you found those. Okay, so let's make a start. If you look at page 1 of the general induction booklet, you'll see a spider diagram there. You should just take a few moments now to read through task 1, starting with list ways in which people are different from each other, and then come back to the video. So pause the video now and have a read through the instructions, and then come back to me. Okay, so hopefully you've read the instructions there. This spider diagram represents the ways in which everybody is different, and you're given 3 there to start with. People are different ages, they have different opinions, they have different fitness. We need to fill in the remaining 6 or 7 arrows on the spider diagram as your first task. So in rough to begin with, hopefully you've got your pen and paper there ready. Just write down as many other ways that you can think of in which people are different. Then pause the video, come back, and we'll fill in the rest of the spider diagram, and I'll give you a few answers that you can choose from as well. Okay, so let's fill in the rest of the spider diagram. Have a look at some of the answers I'm giving you here, and the answers that you've done in rough as well, and fill in the other 7 arrows with your favourite ones. We've got appearance, religion, gender there, race, disabilities, and a few others there. So pause the video if you need to, and fill in the rest of that spider diagram, the missing 7 arrows, with your favourite, or what you think are the best 7 answers from your list, plus the list on the screen. Pause the video there, fill in your spider diagram, then we'll come back with the next task. Okay, so on to task 2. So again, pause the video there and just read through the instructions, and then we'll come back and have a look at some example answers. Okay, so hopefully you've read through the instructions there. So what we have here, starting, the first example is a 50-year-old man who's enrolled on an IT course where everyone else is under 25 and is worried about looking foolish. What you need to fill in there is how that person might be made to feel different by other people in the group, and how you could make them feel more comfortable. And you're given a couple of example answers there, just with the first one. He might be ignored, and he might be made to feel worried or intimidated. So you can see the pattern in this in task 2 is that in the middle column, how they might be made to feel different, is ways in which the group might actually not help the situation, ways in which they might actually make it worse. And in the final column is ways in which they could actually make the situation better. How could they make that person feel more comfortable? And that's the pattern through this whole task. So have a go there. Pause the video, have a go there. Again, in rough is best to begin with, and then we'll come back and have a look at some example answers. So hopefully you've got loads of example answers there. Let's have a look at some here that you might have said. People might laugh at him, ridicule him, make fun of him, his clothes, etc., which might be different from theirs because he's a little bit older. Might even laugh at his lack of ability. That's the way, you see in that column, it's the ways in which the group might actually make the situation worse, or actually contribute to the situation and the 50-year-old man there feeling quite bad. So how could they make him more comfortable? In the booklet you've got the example of smile, but they could also be friendly, sociable, help him with his problems, they could chat to him, they could include him in the group, they could find a common interest. So there's some example answers for you. Have a look at the answers on the screen and the answers that you got down in rough, and then bearing in mind you've only got a small space to write there in the answer book, get down what you think are the best answers, and then we'll come back to the video in a second. So you should now have finished the first example there, the 50-year-old man where everyone else is 25. We'll have a look at the second example now. This time it's a 14-year-old student who's enrolled on a college course after being home educated since the age of 4, and is worried about being in a classroom. Now, again, remember the pattern from the first example is that in the second column there in your answer book, you write down ways in which the other people in the group might actually make that situation worse, and in the third column you write ways in which they could make it better for that person. So again, hopefully you've started to get the pattern now. In rough to begin with, write down what you think are your best possible answers for each column, and we'll come back and have a look at some example answers we can choose from as well. So pause the video there, write a few answers down in rough, and then we'll come back and fill in the rest of the blanks. So let's have a look at some example answers that you can add to yours. Might be called posh or snob or spoilt, might be taught differently, not used to being in a classroom situation, a few other answers there. And in the final column, ways in which the group could actually make that person feel better. So they could smile again, be friendly and sociable, help him or her with problems, try and involve him in activities. So there's a few other sample answers. Far too many for the little space you've got in the answer book, but have a look at the answers you gave in rough, have a look at those answers and choose what you think are the best ones. Try not to repeat yourself now from the first task if you possibly can. You should have plenty of answers there on the screen you could choose from. You should have plenty in rough as well. So try not to just say the same things as in the first example with the older man. Try and vary it as we go down the columns now. So pause the video there, and when you come back we'll have a look at the next task. Okay, so the next example is a female student who's enrolled on a construction course where everyone else is male. So you can see the area of differentiation here might be to do with gender. She comes from a family of 3 sisters and isn't sure how to cope. So hopefully you're getting the gist of this task now. Pause the video there in a second, write a few answers down in rough, and we'll come back, have a look at some answers that you can choose from that I'll give you, and then your job will be to pick the best answers to actually add to your booklet. Okay, so here's some example answers for this task. Choose from those plus the answers you've written down in rough, and add the very best answers into your book. And remember, you haven't got much to write. You haven't got much room to write, so choose what you think are the very best answers to write into your answer book there. So here's the final example. A blind girl is enrolled on an administration course where no other student has a disability and no one is sure how to treat her. Hopefully you get the way this works now. Go away, write some answers down in rough, then come back and we'll have a look at some example answers, and then we'll choose the ones that go in your answer book. Right, so get your best answers down there for the end of task 2, and pause the video if you need to at any time, and we'll go on to task 3 in a second. Now, in this task, you need to look at a video before we go on with it. This is task 3 we're on now. You need to look at a YouTube video called Equality, Diversity and Inclusion. And the best way to get to that is to type in the bit.ly that's on your screen now, which is bit.ly/2 small c capital O, be careful with that one, it's not a 0, a capital O, small I, small e, 86. So pause the video there for a second, make a note of that bit.ly if you have to, go and type that into YouTube, watch the video, and come back when you've watched it, and we'll go on with the next task. Okay, so you should now have gone and watched that YouTube video, which is all about direct and indirect discrimination. There's some examples in the video of indirect discrimination, and that's what this task is about. Now take some time now, if you haven't done so already, to study page 3 of the booklet, because for this task you'll need to be very clear about what direct discrimination means, what indirect discrimination means, and then working in small groups if you're able to, or individually if you can't, we'll come back and have a go at task 3 on page 3. Okay, so here's the task. Then you need to fill in this table with some examples of direct and indirect discrimination. For example, there's a law that states that helmets must be worn when riding a motorbike, but that discriminates indirectly against certain religions. For example, the Sikh religion, where they have to wear a turban. And that's an example of indirect discrimination. You see how it works? It's a law that's been made and it wasn't intended to discriminate against anyone, any religion or any gender or any age, but it indirectly does so. Here's another example. A lot of schools ban jewellery or headwear or other kinds of non-uniform clothing, but that can indirectly discriminate against certain religions. Like, for example, in the Christian religion, a lot of people like to wear a necklace with a cross on it. But if jewellery is banned, the school is indirectly discriminating against Christians. So what happens actually in the end is that common sense will prevail, and there'll be exemptions for people who wear religious type jewellery. Here's what happens in reality. Common sense really is what prevails. With the motorbike example, the people involved with that might feel they have to break the law or not ride the motorcycle. In reality, what actually happens is that the law was changed and Sikhs were exempt from the rule. And in the case of the ban on jewellery at schools, that would indirectly discriminate against Christians, but in reality they would change the rule slightly to allow for people to wear religious jewellery. So again, have a look at those examples, have a look at some examples that you've written down in rough as well, and choose your best ones, your best examples to go in the booklet. Pause the video there, finish that task, and we'll go on with task 4 in a second. So task 4, on page 4, is all about what you should do if you feel that you've been discriminated against, or if you see discrimination happening. Make sure you've read through the task there before we go through some of the possible answers, and then come back and we'll get it finished. So if you feel you've been discriminated against or have witnessed discrimination, you should report it as soon as possible. That's the main thing. Who should you report it to? Well, in the first instance, you should talk to your lecturer that's teaching you at the time, or your course tutor. If it happens that it's those people that you feel you've been discriminated against, or you've seen them being discriminatory, you should report it to the vulnerable student protection officer, though any member of staff should be able to help you to set up a meeting with the correct support organizer. And the vulnerable student protection officer is Fiona Evans. If you feel you need to see her, then you can ask at reception where her office is. But the important thing is, if you feel you've been discriminated against or have witnessed discrimination, you should report it as soon as you can. So have a go at finishing page 4 there, task 4, and then we'll go on with the next task. Okay, so welcome back. We're about to start task 5 now, which is actually the beginning of a different section called Getting to Know the College. So you should now finish tasks 1 to 4, which is all about discrimination, and be quite happy with what that means within the college environment. If you're not, you need to get back to me about anything you're not sure of. So this next section is about getting to know the college, and the first task 5, is about the mission statement of the college. And the mission statement is fulfilling potential, changing lives. Now in this task, there's no real right or wrong answers. You really need to write in the box what you think that mission statement says about the college from your own point of view. So pause the video there and have a go at that. If you're unsure, then I'll give you some hints in a second, but you should really have a go on your own first. Okay, so hopefully you've had a go at this yourself now. Let's have a look at some possible answers you might have given. Equal opportunities for all students. We'll help you to be the best person you possibly can. That's from the word potential, really. The ability you've got within yourself that you haven't used yet. Changing lives. The college wants to help you achieve your dreams and ambitions. So again, choose what you think are the best answers from the ones you've made in rough, plus the ones that are on the screen, and put them into the box there on page 5. Pause the video there, and when you've done that, come back and we'll do the next task. Okay, so on to task 6 now. So I've read through the task, pause the video if you need to, and come back to us. This task involves a list of services and resources provided by the college. And you're given the Learning Resources Centre. We can also give you advice on free transport, financial help such as EMA and the Welsh Learning Grant, etc. Learning services, advice and guidance officers, the council, the Students' Union, and we can give you advice on sexual health as well. So copy those into your booklet and we'll come back for the next task. So on to task 7, and in this task and also task 8 and 9, the remaining 3 tasks in this video, it's all about the people that you'll come across in the college, your subject tutors, technicians, student welfare officers, student liaison officers and administrators, counsellors and things like that. So you can begin to know some of the names of the people that you'll come across in the college. And in the first few weeks you'll be putting some faces to these names. So have a look at task 7, read the instructions, and come back to the video and we'll go through some of these names. So your subject tutors are myself, Andy Copeland, Tim Beckham, Emma Evans and Tony Wheeler. Your course tutor, otherwise known as course team leader or learning coach, is Andy Copeland. The Director of Student and Learning Services is Helen Griffiths. Now in your booklet that actually says Director of Curriculum, so you should tidily rub that out or put a line through it and change it to Director of Student and Learning Services and put the name down of Helen Griffith. And Principal is given to you in the booklet, that's Jackie Weatherburn. On to task 8 then. Again, more members of staff that you'll come across in the first few weeks. Again, the principal you're given there, it's Jackie Weatherburn. The Senior Director of Curriculum in Aberystwyth is Teresa Jones. The Director of Curriculum in Cardigan is Rhiannon Elias. The Director of Student and Learning Services across both campuses is Helen Griffith. And the Curriculum Manager for your subject area, which is IT, is Joe Pearce. And on to task 9. Task 9 covers pages 9 and 10. It's quite a big task, but it's the last task we'll cover in this video. And it goes through, again, some of the members of staff, what their names are, what they do, and specific things that they can help you with. So I'll leave that on the screen for a few seconds. Pause if you need to, and you can fill the booklet in there for the Student Welfare Officer, which is Fionn Evans, and your course tutor, which is myself, Andy Copeland. The Student Liaison Administrator is partly filled in for you, but you'll have to add the names in there, Ada Evans and Mayrus Lewis in the first column. The rest of that row there is completed for you. So then move on down to the College Counsellor, which is Jacqueline Brown, and the Mentors, which is Sarah and Anna, and Anne-Marie rather. I'll leave that on screen for a second there. Pause the video if you need to, and then we'll move on. So onto the on page 10, which is the final page we'll cover in this video. Again, I'll leave these people on screen here. Remember, you have to fill in their name in the first column. It may or may not be there. And then the general job that they have in the second column, and more detailed jobs and things they can help you with in the final column. I'll leave that on screen there for you. Pause the video if you need to and get that filled in. Here's the next page, which covers the Welsh Language Advisor and Careers Advisor. And finally, Learning Advisor. Remember, you may have to fill in the name there. It may not be in your booklet. And the second column, it's a general description of what they do. And the final column is particular things they can help you with. So don't forget now, if you've missed anything, just go back through the video, pause it, rewind it to fill in any gaps. And you should then have filled in tasks 1 to 9 of the general induction booklet. And that's the end of this video. We'll see you on the next one.